Hey everybody, it's Rocky the Ramone, and I am now going to interview the owner of Hit Records, Ron Ross, who has an extensive history with the Ramones. How you doing there, Ron?
I'm great for a Sunday, just great.
Well, if any of you true believers that have been paying attention to the stuff that I put out, you'll know that Ron Ross is one of the very first guys that I got my Ramones fix from when he had Hit Records over there on Forest Lane. Now he's over here on Ferguson. And how long you been running Hit Records, Ron?
I'm in here 40 years.
Wow, 40 years.
Yeah.
And what did you do before that?
RCA.
You worked for RCA?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Elvis Presley.
Oh, cool. And so how abouts did you get introduced to the Ramones?
I had a friend, a neighbor, who worked for Zebra Records in Arlington and told me I ought to check out this group. I said, okay. And he handed me the first album.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wow, this is really interesting. That was probably 1974 or 5. And all I've been listening to at the time was Aerosmith and the Rolling Stones. So this was quite a shock. And I went and got my own copy of the vinyl album, and they came to town about right after that. So,
Do you remember the venue they played? Was that Dallas or Fort Worth?
Dallas was the first venue they played. I met the Ramones probably summer of '75, if that's correct. And they were touring for their first album, and they played the Longhorn Ballroom. And I'd been listening to the album for about a month before they came here the first time, and so I was ready.
What did you think about the first album? Because it had to have been a pretty big of a shock.
Well, I liked the energy, and I liked the spontaneity and the simplicity all together.
Seems like they were doing the same stuff that like maybe Aerosmith and the Stones were doing, but they were stripping it down a lot.
They were a garage band. And when I found out they were coming to town, I went down to the Electric Ballroom and took my lady at the time to that, and I was blown away with the speed and the precision and the energy they gave off. I never had seen anything like that before. And they must have noticed me in the crowd, because after the show, the dressing rooms were actually outside of the Electric Ballroom. So when the show ended, everybody left, and their security and their people were out there, and all the crowd wanted to know if they were going to come out of the dressing rooms, and they didn't know. All of a sudden, the back door opened, and Tommy walked out and go, "He can come in." He pointed right at me. And there were photographers and radio people and record company people, all these big shots standing around. How come he gets to go? You know, who's this guy? Why does he get to go? And so, oh, what the heck? And went with Tommy and one of the security guards of the sportatorium. I
The
guess it was.
sportatorium?
Well, that's what it was like. But it was a Longhorn ballroom, but they worked close together. Took me into the dressing room, and it was just a locker room, is what it was. And they asked me how I was doing. I said, "It's great. Can we get one more song?" And that's it. So they said, "Yeah, you seem to know most of the songs and were keeping up with the beat, knew when they ended." And I said, "Yeah, I've been listening to them for about a year, and however long it had been out at the time before they finally got to Texas." And they go, "Well, we're going to be in Austin tomorrow. You want to come down there?" And I'm going, "Sure, man, I'd love to come down there. But why don't you just go with us?" I said, "Sure." I go, "Well, we're going to San Antonio after that, then Houston, and we're just making the big city tour of Texas." And I said, "Sure, man. Well, here's your leather jacket. You're ready to go. You're one of us." And so I went to Austin, San Antonio, and Houston, and just had the time of my life. That was the first time we'd met, and I ended up dragging myself around the state of Texas. Then, the next time I saw them, they came back pretty quick. They came back in less than a year. And they played Panther Hall in Fort Worth. And their shows were always big.
Big as in well attended, or big as in large venues?
Both. But they co-headline with the Runaways. And that was when the Runaways were just starting out. Joan Jett and Lita Ford, so it was a big deal. With the Ramones still headline, I guess because they were guys and the Runaways were girls. Neither one of them sold many records at the time, so. From there, it just took off. Then it got to be a yearly thing. They came back and played the same venue, Panther Hall, and played by themselves. And then Rocket to Russia came out, and it just exploded. And Road to Ruin followed that, and Marky came. And when Marky came, it just really exploded because of the movie Rock and Roll High School, and Road to Ruin was doing real well for a Ramones album. And I ended up going on that tour all the way to California. You know, it's one more city. Come on, go. One more city, El Paso. One more city, Albuquerque. I got to get back to work, guys.
I was about to ask you, did you have a job at that time?
Yeah, I was here. I was working here.
Working at the store.
Yeah. And I just call and say, I'll be gone another day or two. And I ended up all the way in California. God.